Hi there, Andrew here. I love anime, but I have no patience, so I'm giving every new show of the summer 2017 season one episode to hook me. Welcome to Debut Review. Today I will watch In Another World with my smartphone. I've actually heard of this one. Haven't heard anything about it, but I do recall someone mentioning the title. After dying as a result of God's mistake, as can happen, the main character finds himself in a parallel world where he begins his second life. His only possessions are the body that God gave back to him and a smartphone that works even in this new world. As he meets all kinds of new people and forges new friendships, he ends up learning the secret to this world. He inherits the legacy of an ancient civilization and works together with the kings of some very laid-back countries on his carefree travels through this new world. And that's a... Fur-lined has never done it for me. That's a terrible coat. And you should be ashamed of yourself, smartphone person. And just got a bunch of other happy people. A lot of animals. Got a cat. Got in the upper left what appears to be a turtle being constricted by a snake, and a bear on top of the umbrella. Or a sentient teddy bear. That looks like it's going to murder everybody, Chucky style. We can only hope. So we've got another show where someone from the real world is transported into a fantasy world. You know, there's reasons to use point of view characters, but you don't really have to literally transplant a person from the real world into your fantasy setting. I mean, it's okay if you do. Some stories that works gangbusters. Sometimes that is the story, but sometimes it feels like, oh, they're not going to understand our fantasy world. We need an audience insert character. Let's literally insert someone from the real world into our fantasy world. You don't have to do that. Whatevs. In Another World with my smartphone. Let's check it out. It's alright. Oh, should I say more? Oh, I'll say more. So, young Brian, Toya or something, I forget what the guy's name is, but the one wearing the incredibly awful fur-lined coat, dies, as it said in the description, struck by a bolt of lightning, and he's up having tea with God. And God says, dude, I am so sorry. Didn't know you were standing there when I sent down that bolt of lightning, but, you know, them's the breaks. So, I'd like to make it up to you. I'll reincarnate you on another world. I can't reincarnate you on the same world. Those are the rules. And I'm thinking to myself, but you're God. Aren't they, like, your rules? I mean, don't give me this crap about, I'm sorry, but those are the rules when you made up the rules. Because what you're really saying is, I could do this, I'm just not going to. For reasons. But, whatever. Maybe God reports to a higher power. Maybe there are universal laws that prevent God from doing certain things in the universe of this anime. Who knows? They don't get into that. But what really struck me was the idea that God accidentally hit someone with a bolt of lightning. Which makes me wonder, is this a frequent occurrence? Like most of the people that die in natural disasters, like bolts of lightning, earthquakes, floods, is God like constantly like, folks, oh man, I am so sorry. I didn't realize there was an entire city there when the volcano went off. My bad. Didn't realize you were all going to go poof. So, reincarnating you on another world. Because it's either that, or God is purposefully killing everyone who dies in natural disasters. Just this kid right here, that was a mistake. Everyone else who dies in a volcano eruption or a tsunami or an earthquake or anything else like that, that was on purpose. God was gunning for you. See, this is the kind of stuff I think about when I watch cartoons. So, God says, okay, so I'm reincarnating you on this other world. Is there anything else I can do for you? And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, I just feel so bad. Is there any perk I could give you? Would you like to be rich? Would you like to be invulnerable? Would you like to be able to eat as much ice cream and cookies as you want without getting fat? Would you like a larger penis? And he says, no, you know what I'd really like? Can I keep my cell phone or my smartphone? And God's like, really? I know I'm for some reason operating under some rule set, but I am God. I'm asking you what you want, and all you want's your cell phone? Yeah, sure. He's like, I mean, you can't call Earth. You can watch YouTube cat videos and stuff and read the news, but you can't, like, call your mom and tell her you're okay on another Earth. Little Toya, or whatever his name is, he seems to be taking this pretty well, which God actually comments on, takes it in stride. I guess it's just kind of not that show, where they don't want you to be all depressed about thinking about all of his friends and loved ones that he left behind. Although, I guess from their perspective, he, got fried to a crisp by a stray bolt of lightning. So, So God drops him off on the new world, just out in the middle of nowhere. Apparently within walking distance of a city, but still, just out in the middle of nowhere. Has no money. Doesn't know the local language. Correction, and I'll get to that in a moment. God calls him up on the cell phone. He says, hey, if you need anything, just give me a call. By the way, I updated Google Maps to map out this world, and because Earth maps aren't going to do you much good. Okay, bye. It's like, what a nice God. So he finds the nearest town, walks down the road. Horse and buggy runs by and then stops, and a guy walks out and goes, oh my gosh, your otherworldly clothes are the neatest things I've ever seen. He's just wearing a suit and tie, even though he's 15. Maybe it's a school uniform, I don't know. I will pay you for them. I'm like, well, there's his money problem solved immediately. Because you're thinking, okay, this guy doesn't know the local language, he has no money, he has no knowledge of the area. His cell phone only looks up Earth information. Other than the map, it's not going to look up information like, where do I go to get a job? So, is this guy going to starve to death? How's he going to get food? Where's he going to sleep? Things like that. And no, the guy immediately says, I will buy your clothes for all the money. Alright. So, I guess you could just dial your cell phone onto a fashion website and say, hey, what about this? Oh my gosh, here's more gold coins! As you might have guessed, and he points out, it's like, oh, the local language is English. That's convenient. Yeah, it is. Although the local written language is not English. Or, I'm sorry, Japanese. The local language is Japanese. The written language is not Japanese. It's something else that he cannot read. That would have been a helpful thing for God to give him, is literacy. But, no, he's got a cell phone. So, he map quests his way to an inn, and he sees two women. Let's see, are they on the poster? Yeah, the two gals in purple. One has her hand up like this, and the other one's doing this. They're in an alley being confronted by two ruffians. They were trying to sell a crystal antler to these guys for gold piece. And they're like, it's scratched. We're only giving you a silver piece. And they're like, son of a man. And so he walks up and he says, hey, ladies, can I buy that for a gold piece? And they say, sure. So he takes a pebble and he chucks it at the crystal antler in the guy's hand, and it explodes, because I guess that's what happens when you hit crystal with a small rock. Nice aim, dude. He's like, what? I owned it because I bought it. Haha. And then one of the ruffians, there's two of them, charges at him. And then it flashes back and God says, oh, I'm also going to up your stamina and reflexes and all that good stuff. And he's like, wow, I've got like spidey sense and everything is in slow motion. So he steps to the side and elbows this guy to the ground. And one touch I liked is he turns around to face the other ruffian and the girls have already flattened him out on the floor. I like that. Good touch. So they become friends and they're like, hey, we stay at that inn. Why don't we walk you over there? And it turns out this is basically Dungeons and Dragons world. Because they go to the job board and they find a job and it's kill 5 unicorn wolves, literally wolves with unicorn horns, and it's basically the clear the giant rats out of the basement quest that you see in all RPGs. And he's like, I don't have a weapon, so they give him a sword. Not sure where they got it. He has a pouch full of gold coins, probably bought it. And they're like, all right, here's your guild card. Don't lose it, because it's hard to reissue. Really? Because I guess it's really easy to get a guild card, but reissuing it's just a pain in the butt. Okay, sure. So they go out into the woods and they fight the unicorn wolves, and then they come back and they get their coins, and that was that. So it looks like from the poster that we're going to get a D&D party together, and they're going to go around fighting things. That could be cool. I like Dungeons and Dragons type worlds or RPG worlds. There was a show fairly recently called Is It Okay to Date Girls You Found in a Dungeon or something like that. Not really a great show, but I love the world of the show because it really leaned heavily into its Dungeons and Dragons theming. Dungeons and Dragons and RPG theming. Characters in this episode literally leveled up, and they went into dungeons, and the dungeons had literal boss monsters that respawned and had loot drops. Oh, it was so much fun. The show itself is not great, but I was so enamored of this literal RPG world that I found it a lot of fun to watch for the 12 episodes that it lasted. That's not the show we're talking about, though. We're talking about In Another World with my smartphone. And they're like, hey, or he says, hey, can you teach me magic? And she says, well, that depends on if you have an aptitude for anything. There's, 6 elements and null magic, so whatever you have an aptitude for, I can teach you that. But if you don't have an aptitude for anything, then no. He has an aptitude for everything. Thanks God. So he's going to be the best RPG guy that has ever RPG'd in an RPG, I guess. Which is a little boring. He's a little OP. But yeah, it's fine. It might be interesting to check out another episode just to see where it goes, see how the party forms, see what the other characters do. Not really like, oh gosh, I gotta watch episode 2, but, if I have a free evening and I'm not doing anything else, maybe I'll check out episode 2. Oh, one thing I wanted to comment. Oh, he also invents ice cream for them. Some woman who owns a restaurant's like, I need to think up a new dessert. Random people, do you have any ideas? And he's like, yeah, get down a pen and paper and I'll read you the recipe for ice cream, because that doesn't exist in this world. So he's just going to be the savior of all RPG land by inventing ice cream in cool fashion, I guess. The other thing I wanted to mention is this show, like so many others, uses eye catches, commercial bumpers. When it cuts to commercial, there's sometimes a short still image or short animated sequence, which usually has the characters in a chibi, super deformed model just doing something like yay or whatever. This does that too, but it does it every 2 minutes. It's weird and it's annoying. I imagine there's probably a source material like a manga or something, and it's trying to represent something from the original source material, but it doesn't work in a full-length episode, because I mean it's literally every 2 or 3 minutes they have one of these eye catches. It's really weird. I mean, they're cute, but it does interrupt the story and does become kind of obnoxious. So anyway, you know, in another world with my smartphone, it's cute, it's fine, it's all right. It's non-offensive. Maybe I'll watch episode 2. We'll see. See you next time.